Greetings, YouTube and people on this channel watching this video. How the hell are you? I'm here with Dane's back, now Dane's front. Hello, mate. How you doing?
Good.
Dane's my Australian Antipodean friend who's mad into all this stuff. I'm going to start calling him Dane the Pain because he gives me pain in numbers and I can't help but eat them. They're like drugs to me. So tonight, I'm not quite sure what we're going to talk about, but Dane's got some cool stuff to show me. I'm guessing it's to do with metrology and music and other M words, probably the Masons, magicians, and your mum.
Yep, even me mum.
Cool. So, you ready to kick it off, dude?
Yeah, mate, no worries. Well, but it was you that sort of inspired all this because you were looking into the, the mile and the kilometre, the metric and the what is it? The metric and the Imperial.
The Imperial.
Yeah, they're not connected. Cubit, metre, mile, kilometre, all these things were, invented later. Anyway, you've been, so it was you that inspired this work. Yeah, only last night I did this. And so, I was.
Cool.
Yeah.
Good job.
Yeah, so if you want, I'll kick it off and then, share us with, share your mile, foot, kilometre, inch stuff as well. It all ties to this.
I'll share my confusion. It's difficult, mate. It's like it's got to a difficult spot where I'm just getting caught up in patterns and it's looping back on itself and I'm not quite getting to the end of it. But I can see there's things there. But I was hoping sharing it with a guy like you, you'd be on it like a Sherlock Holmes into the numbers.
Well, I don't know where it came from because I could never take any credit for anything that I've been doing in the last couple of years. I don't know where it comes from. It's not me, you know what I mean? I don't.
I feel the same, mate, because if I was anything like this clever, I wouldn't be putting it into doing something like this. Do you know what I mean? I'd be trying to make some money or find some love in my life. But but this is where the universe puts us. And you got to do that work. So you can take credit for the energy you've put in, mate, and the concentration and the love.
A little bit, yeah, but I think even that was a choice maybe before we were born. Because
maybe.
Yeah, I'm just so into it that I don't even know why. There's I can't think of any reasons, but here we are.
Here we are.
Anyway, I'll kick it off, but it's pretty well. It was all just yesterday that I found this, and this is like it really does tie up everything for me because the 144 stuff's been something that whatever the guides have been giving me the 144s everywhere. But so it's D, the note of D, and in Stephanie's work, she says that the Sumerians made D the Me's instead of middle C, it was D. And so last night, we got the Howard Crowhurst number from the Great Pyramid to the King's Chamber to the equator. So the main thing that I've been learning in the last sort of 12 months was the Me's. I'll write it here somewhere, M-E-S-E, the Me's, which is the middle, the median, the, centre. It could be the human body as the Me's or Yggdrasil, the axis mundi, but the Me's. So when I did from Montague Island to the line to Parliament House, Stephanie said, find the Me's, go to 72 kilometres. So I just did it for fun. Anyway, we found the big hole, right? The big hole was right at the very centre of the line from Parliament House to Montague, right? There was this huge hole. It's 100 metres deep, right? 50, it's an enormous thing. I didn't know it was there. I've lived here my whole life. I didn't know that was there. That's only just over the mountain there. So anyway, the Me's is everything. So D used to be the Me's in the music scale. Last night, if we pull it up there, maybe we could edit it in later. But just that Pythagorean music scale where you've got start with all the columns of the numbers of each C, D, A, everything. Mm-hmm. So that's cool. And that's really everything, that chart. It gives us everything. So last night I was doing, if you start with the very first note of D, which is 9 hertz, but it's inaudible. Right. We only hear from 20, so 9's inaudible, but that's the first note is 9 hertz. So I went 9 hertz times, where is it here? Here, 9 hertz. Oh no, what's up? Forgive me. Right, the very first D is 9 hertz, and the very last D is also inaudible. It's 36,864 hertz, right? So that's the 13th position of D. I just times them together, and we got Howard Crowhurst's number from the King's Chamber to the equator. It's 3,317,760 metres, right? From the King's Chamber to the equator. The greatest me's of all is the equator, obviously, of Earth, you know?
Yeah.
So King's Chamber, all the way down, and we get exactly Howard's number. Exactly. And that's the very first D and the very last D. But then it got crazier, because then I just shifted it up. So instead of so I've been also, it works with the third harmonic of D, which is, where is it here? The third, which is 144, is the fifth one. Sorry, mate, I've just got it all written everywhere.
Sorry, bud.
36 hertz is the first audible one, and that's the third position, right? So 36 times the 11th position of D, 9,126 hertz. It also adds up to the same, you know, King's Chamber to the equator. But we keep going, all the Ds do it, but you're just moving in on the scale like this, getting from the, you know, the first to the last equals King's Chamber to the equator. And then we go to the second and the 12th position of D, 18 hertz times 18,432 equals again 331776. This is all to the equator from the King's Chamber. So in D for distance, right, and the, you know, obviously the Great Pyramid is kind of a big deal. This, it's just all, every single node of D, okay, fourth position of D, 72 hertz, by the 10th position of D is also to the, you know, King's Chamber to the equator. All of them.
Sorry, can I just stop you a minute, Dane? I'm slightly confused where we've got this central number from. So you've got like on D 9 hertz, then you've got 36.
Yeah, they're all D.
They're all D, but why? How is it multiplied? You know, this multiplication number that you've got.
Yep.
So it says 9 hertz, 36,864.
Yep.
Which is also the size of the Earth and the size of the Sun numbers, though. But where's that number come from?
Well, that's just the D note, you know. So in the scale of 432, the Pythagorean music scale, D is not, all of these are 9 hertz, you know. So 144 is a D, 72 hertz is, they're all octaves. So 9 octave, it's just D, all of it's D.
Yeah, I get that. And so what's that second number there?
It's also
it says
I've times D by D. You just stay in the column of D. You don't go into A, C. None of the others work.
Right, I get you.
Only the node of D will give you from the King's Chamber to the equator.
Yeah,
I get the very first D in the scale is 9 hertz, and the very last D in the scale is 36,864. Right. So when you're looking at the chart, you can see nines at the and this one here is at the bottom of the chart. I just times them together, and I got.
Oh, I see. I see what you're saying now about everything compressing together, because that will basically just balance it out, won't it? By multiplying what you got at the end by what you got. Right, I get you. I see.
Yeah. And so then I've gone to the second D, which is 18 hertz, which is double 9, obviously, and then come down to the next one here, 18,432, and it gives us again the 3 million right all the way from King's Chamber to the equator. But so all the D, the fourth D and the 10th D give you the same. The fifth D and the eighth D will give you the same. I was just going, oh my God, this is King's Chamber to the equator. Why did they build the Great Pyramid there? This is why. 144. Why is the pyramid covered in 144,000 blocks? This is why. It's the distance from its location to the greatest means there is, the equator. So all the D's, first D and the very last D. You times them together, and you get, distance, King's Chamber to the equator. I mean, last night I couldn't believe it. No, what?
That is awesome.
Yeah. Unbelievable. You could all just hear on this one. Where is it? I just did something for fun and it worked. Oh, sorry. Here we go. This is the megalithic yard. So this is D at 18 hertz, and this is D at 46680 hertz. Sorry, 08 hertz. That's the 10th D in the scale. That's the second D in the scale. We times them together, and we get the megalithic yard, and it's E. That's the note of E.
What?
Yeah.
How accurate is that?
That's insane, isn't it? I mean, here, this is in meters, right? So let's just any of them work. Let's just use the third position of D, 36 hertz, because we can hear that one. So 36 hertz times the 11th D, which is 9216. That should be 9216 hertz, right? And you get. I think that's wrong. Sorry, forgive me. Where are we? It was megalithic yard. Yeah, 18 hertz times the 10th position, and you get the megalithic, because it's 0.82944 of a meter is the megalithic yard. So that's
is that 100% accurate, or is there a little?
No, 100% accurate.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So like that's the meter. So if you go 36 hertz D times 9216 hertz D, you get this here, which is the meters, 3,317,760 meters. You get from the King's Chamber to the equator. But then if you just go 18 hertz, again D, times another D, 10th position of D is there, you get the megalithic yard. So you've got meters and the megalithic yard all just using...
Oh, my word. So what sparked off in your brain to make you say that's the megalithic yard? Did you just remember the number, or did you have to look it up?
No, I just remember all the numbers. And because, like Howard Crowhurst's, video on showing us how to get the megalithic yard, and the original guy, forget his name, he's dead now, but he found this, and all the scholars mocked him for years, but now it's an accepted thing, this megalithic yard. But it's also exactly the note of E. That is E, the very last E in these. If we pull it up and edit it in, just the chart of the scale, well, that's E. So where is it just down here? Nine, and then, okay, that's right, 18 hertz times, so that's the second position, times the 10th position, we get megalithic yard. But also the first D, which is 9 hertz, times the 11th D, is also the megalithic yard here. So D times D equals E. You know what I mean? That's the E.
Yeah.
So D at 9 hertz, D at 9216 hertz, times, and you get megalithic yard, you get E. D times E.
You're still getting processional numbers though, because you got, 9's processional, but 216 is there. This is okay. So all these, everybody watching, if there is anybody watching, all these little things are signs. If numbers reduce to 9, if you're seeing these what we call processional harmonics in there, these are all signs that we're on the right path, basically, because obviously on the way to get into there, you've got to go a little bit crazy writing out numbers. Yeah.
This bit here, I think you're going to really freak, mate, because this is all about the negative, female and male numbers.
Okay.
So, you would imagine, which I sort of thought just logically in my head, that it didn't work. And what does happen is more spectacular. So when you use all 9s, just 999, multiples of 9, that this is the highest D, 36864. That's the highest D in the scale, right? It's the 13th position. It's actually inaudible because it's above 20,000 kilohertz. We only hear for 2020 hearing, but that's in the scale. It's at the 13th position. So, and it's all multiples of 9. But when I divided it by 9, we get this here, 4096, which is not divisible by 3, 6, or 9 by the spirit numbers anymore. And I thought that was very strange because it's actually not 9, this number. I thought, well, dividing by 9, you'd get 9 again. But, but you don't. You get this. You go back to matter-based. So 4096.
Yeah.
You can only divide it by 2.
Oh, my God, it doesn't divide. I'm just doing it now. It doesn't divide by 9. What?
No, I know. What? So it's only divisible by 2, 4, 8, 16, 32, 64, and it's all like, the 64, 32, 16, 8. That's the only, so it's gone back to matter. So when you see, all I did was, so here we've got 9 hertz. Where is it? 9 hertz times 36864. So then I just went, 3684 divide by the 9. I went backwards, I just went that way. But when we do that, when we go backwards and divide by 9, we get this matter-based number that's only divisible by the matter-based numbers.
Oh, my God. I need to explain something to everybody out there. So during the course of my investigations, I'd realised that this is, when I've looked into it, it's in Plato and it's Pythagorean essentially. But there are 2 types of numbers that we're talking about. Obviously, there's lots of types of numbers, but there are male and female numbers within these harmonic series, and even in just normal numbers. We've called them masculine and feminine because we got them from the Egyptian gods Isis and Osiris. So the masculine numbers are 3 numbers. So it's like 3, 6, 9, 12. We can end it there. And the female numbers, and you'll notice 2 of these numbers are the same. The female numbers are 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. So 6 and 12 bind the 2 sets together, but you've essentially got this Adam and Eve, odd and even, and the even is you can split apart into 2, and obviously you got a trinity within the masculine numbers. Carry on, just so people know what we're talking about.
Yeah. So like you frustrated straight away thought surely it's divisible by 9 because we've got all the way to this number 36864 by adding 9s. Surely it's divisible by 9. Yeah, it is, but this number is no longer divisible by and all the spirit numbers. Yeah,
and that's unusual for these numbers, like very unusual.
Yeah. I can't even get my head around that one. But yeah, because when you go 36864 times 9, you get that distance from the King's Chamber to the equator.
To the equator.
That's 9. So that number adds to 9. So that's the distance, King's Chamber to the equator. So, 36, which is all D. That's a D note. That's a D note. Times them together, you get distance to there. But then you divide it. Let's divide it by 9. Well, we get this, and yet it's only 2, 4, 8, 16, blah, blah, blah. So, D gives us King's Chamber to the equator. I don't know how much bigger I can find now.
No.
I mean, it's because of obviously Crowhurst, and he found that, and it was one of his friends. So we've got to thank the friend because he was the one that said to Howard, "Why don't you try measuring from King's Chamber to the equator?" And if that friend hadn't made that suggestion, we wouldn't have this 331776 number at all. Really, I wouldn't have.
Why do you think they're measuring from the King's Chamber specifically?
Well, because it's a harmonic number. So I think that they've found this first and then put the pyramids there. That's
right.
What it seems to me.
That's what I think too.
Yeah, like 9, as we know, we've worked on 9, and 9 always, adds up to itself. It always returns. It has that magic property. So they would have known that about 9, and then using all the 9, the D notes of 9, it's all music. It's that quadrivium again, astronomy, music, arithmetic. Yeah, so it's that holistic one whole of all the sciences, So yeah, I'm pretty sure.
That's the good thing about this work that we're doing, even though it's very esoteric, and there's a lot of woo associated with it. What we're doing specifically gives you mathematical answers that are either true or not true.
Yeah,
we allow ourselves a little fudge room sometimes, but that's not fudged at all. That's amazing.
zero woo. There's not a single bit of woo. I mean,
No.
we didn't. The ratios between notes was, it's like gravity. It's a natural law. We got nothing to do with that. When you cut a string in half, you get the octave or that. That's natural stuff. This is what we're looking at here. Zero woo. They're all just multiples of 9, just octaves. So when I go up on my guitar, the highest D all the way up the neck, as high as you can play it, is up here. And the lowest one's down here. When you just do the multiples of them, King's Chamber to the Mies, to the equator.
Yeah, you're trying to find the median and the medium and Mies is why Hermes is called Hermes, because he's in the middle. That's fantastic, mate. Yeah.
And like you showed Ryan the other day, I drew the treble clef and the bass clef, so coming down and coming up. And the middle there was called the grand staff, the middle of the...
Yeah.
And that was, highest middle C. And we know that we've shown the Giza plateau. I might not have said it now. The Giza plateau is 528 down one side, 432 across the other. So we come down halfway of the one side, 528. 264, come across and we find them. Yeah. So, and that's that 48 again. Yeah.
48's been bothering me. Yeah. And the 264 too, but these two things seem like they are to do with conversion and measurements and literally converting the measurement to me, but I'm not sure at all. It's one of the reasons why my brain's been hurting these last 2 days. And I've just I've chucked it in for a couple of days. I can't do any more thinking. It hurts.
I know. I get you, mate.
Yeah. You've cracked the matrix even further here. I think this is definitely.
I think so, because it's
like you've opened up an entirely new way of thinking about these things, not just discovered something. It's we've got to think about this differently now.
Oh my God, yeah. I mean, I'm talking to Howard and all the guys if they ever get to see this. Is that what this Howard Crowhurst number that he discovered through a friend suggesting it to him. See, is the synchronicity involved in all this. That I'm just a guy in Australia looking at these videos. I'm mucking around with these numbers too, and we've kind of. I don't think Howard actually did it a different way, where he went, okay, it's the distance is this, the 3 million and all that, and he wanted to convert it to megalithic yards. So he divided by 4 million, and he gets 82944. He gets the megalithic yard. So it's 4 million megalithic yards from the King's Chamber to the equator.
82944 is another 9, isn't it? Reduces to 9. Yeah, it does. Flipping heck, Dane.
Yeah.
This is why I'm going to give you the name Dane Quirk, because you just you give me amazing things and then it hurts for about a week after until it settles into my body somehow and I can deal with it.
Well, I don't know who's doing it because but let's when we pass on to the next life, we might have to give him a little fucking scruffing.
Oh, mate, that's amazing.
But
really good work.
I've got something for you, Ryan. This is for you.
Mate. I don't want to see your actual D. I've been waiting to get a D joke in there since I saw the D's on that board.
Oh yeah, and I'm a big D. Big anyway.
Massive D.
A big D. It's all about D distance. The tribe of Dan. I don't know, but there's D. There were navigators and seafarers, and I don't know. D seems to be. It's just in the music scale. It seems to be. It was the Mies of the scale in Sumerian. Well, we understand.
Why do you think? Why do you think they chose D as the middle C, as it were?
I think because it has something to do with Earth's measure. Obviously, like they say that Giza, when the plateau was the center of the Earth mass. Is that right? Remember when they say Giza plateau? The mass of the land mass.
Yeah.
So I think when they've got to that sort of centre, and then they've decided to build the pyramids there. I mean, it was kind of handy. They had all that stone and bedrock and everything there as well, and the Nile.
Yeah.
But I think they've probably noticed these, even Sugarloaf, if that's in Maria here, if that's natural, and it's on 36 degrees, all this stuff, it's maybe these things in the landscape are also harmonically, geometrically placed
Yeah.
But,
So
yeah,
here's a question for you that's not quite related to maths. Can I bring your face on the camera a little bit?
yeah.
Who are these people? Because I don't think they're the locals. I don't think they're the local people at all. I think there's some people traveling around and going, well, we need to go here, we need to go there, we need to go here.
Yeah,
Yeah.
really, yeah. I kind of think it's, the redheads. I mean, I'm a bit
I think it's
biased.
the gingers. Yeah, I do as well. Hey, you're a ginger. I've got ginger pubes.
Yeah. My mate's,
I got a ginger beard.
my mate's he's Irish. He's got the blackest hair but the reddest pubes. It's kind of hilarious.
Yeah, it's weird. Yeah, mine change depending on what season it is. It's like autumn comes, they go red. They're weird.
Yeah, in the summertime.
Expect that video soon, everybody. The changing of the seasons. A time lapse video of my pubes.
The Chihuahua or the Phoenicians, or there's lots of
Tribe
names.
of Dan. Yeah.
Tribe of Dan, and even that whole all the biblical stuff's amazing. The tribe of Dan's left out of the 144,000, and because Dan means judge, the word Dan means to judge or the judge, and to me that makes sense. If that tribe is the judge, they wouldn't be in the saved; they'd be the judges. I don't know. But it's all again back to Saturn. It all comes to Saturn and all, measure, the quadrivium. But it's it's one school of. If you study music, you study in astronomy. If you study in astronomy, you study music. It doesn't matter which one. That's right. So for you, as I was doing that, if we had it up on the screen, but it doesn't matter. We've got the first position of D. You come down the column of D. It's got it written down here: D, C, A. So you look at the D column only. And as, first position and last, I times them together, we get the King's Chamber to the equator. We come down like this, right, from the 2nd to the 10th. So we just go like this. If we look at it, we're getting closer and closer to the middle line, right? And as we're coming closer to the middle, we keep getting 331776.
Yeah.
Right? But then when we get to the 7th position, D,
right,
it's 576 times 576. It times as itself. So all the others are 9 times 3, 864, 18 times 18, 432, 72 times 4, 6, right? It's all 3, 3. It's all that King's Chamber to the thing. But when we get to the 7th, it actually just times us by itself. The last one before it is 288 times 1152. Again, all D notes. But yeah, then you get to the last one and it's just 576 times 576 equals, again, the same, 3 million. But when I did all that dividing by 9, right, we went back to, so I times it by 9 and we get the density from the equator to the thing. But when we divided by 9, we got this, and it went back to this matter-based thing. But when we do it, of course, with position 7, if you divide 576 by 576, you get 1. All the others are, 4, 16, 32, 68, 40, 64. Righto? So, but the only one that doesn't do that is the 7th position of D, because it's times by itself, and then when you divide it by itself, it's just 1. But yeah, that's interesting, the 7th position, and you've got your heptagram. So it all
Well, 7th, I found out they used to call it the virgin number. I just call it the loner or the sigma number because it's just off on its own doing it, because it's like mega prime, basically. Nothing else divides with it easily at all. But I was just looking up my notes from these last couple of days. I swear I kept coming across 576. But I'll look into it off camera, off air later on.
Yeah, I'll think about that.
This is your time, baby.
Yeah. No, I was going to.
So I'm thinking while you're saying this, getting the me's out of it, as you've put it, which is a word I'm going to take up. I like that word. You often hear median or mean. They're not very good. They're not very good words. But
I love it.
What happens in one of the keys that you get from studying all this stuff is that the 9 times table is a key, and one of the reasons why I'm talking to the audience, by the way. I know you know this stuff. One of the reasons why you get 9s returned all the time when you do calculations with 9 is because obviously 9 is going to return itself because it is a 9. But all the other numbers that add up to 9 are going to be some combinations of the lower digits. Most often than not, it's going to be something like 8 and 1, 7 and 2, 6 and 4. You know, the 6 and 5, 6 and 3. We're just adding up to 9 every time because there are two sides to this balance, and every time you take one off one side, you get one added by the other. Yeah. And so it just returns itself. And it seems to me the same kind of things happening here, where whatever you're losing on one column, you're gaining from adding the other column, and it balances out this beautiful, you know, and it's not intuitive when you're doing these things because all these numbers look somewhat random. They're not when you've got the eye for it, but they look somewhat random, and yet they do this amazing, beautiful harmonic dance and end up as a Mies. And that Mies is a megalithic yard. Why do you think they would use? Why do you think that would equal the megalithic yard?
Yeah, so well, that's one. I'll slow down and do it sort of again because it really is something that's. I think if there's anyone out there watching now that have spent time like we have and they're looking at this here, they might be running around the house doing, you know, fist pumping a bit because it's the meter, right? As in, we've got both here just from using the note of D. And then we've got 36 hertz of D times 9216, again a D. And we get the meters from King's Chamber to the equator. Then if we use the 18 hertz of D and the 4608 hertz of D, we get the megalithic yard. So there's two measures, separate measures with meters and megalithic yards, all just derived from D, you know, in the scale of music.
So do you think that they've noticed this and then gone to that location because of those numbers? I'm still slightly like, why would they pull the megalithic yard out of this?
Yeah, there's still a little bit more to be worked on as far as it's not. We're not.
What the hell's going on?
Just because I'm not so familiar with, you know, we're metric over here, so yeah, I'm not real good with inches and stuff, you know. But
I mean, the inches are ours, but apparently I don't think they are. I think they are Stone Age, but. Yeah, well, I'm on meters too. It's not been easy for me to convert all this stuff to inches and yards and feet and cubits. It's not easy at all.
I think we found where they've gotten it from in the first place is in, I used to think that the meter or say, the yard or the rod, all these different things, and, you know, and then the meter came later. But here we can see, though, that it's just the scale of music. You know, we got meters, we got megalithic yards, and we've only just used the note of D.
So here's the thing for you, mate. So obviously Alan Green has done a lot of research on this stuff as well, and it all totally links up. So when I got stuck the other day with these imperial measurements, I went and looked up what Alan had been up to. And he had basically said, there's a ratio of 5 to 6, which is obviously a musical ratio, but of 5 to 6 in that the meter plus the cubit is 5, plus the yard is 6. So I took those measurements myself and did it, and sure enough, it is. It's the meter plus the yard, or whatever, the foot, I think it was. The meter plus the foot is 5, 5 units, and then a 6th unit is the cubit on the end, or what, something like that. One of those three measurements, I can't quite remember. But anybody who thinks, oh, that's interesting, go and look out there. But there's a 5 to 6 between these units. And even like when I'm looking at the Egyptian and Greek versions of the inch and the yard, they're only off by a tiny, it's like 0.02 difference between all these units of measure.
Yeah.
So, and they were saying that when I looked into the history of it, that actually the imperial measurement system seems to come from Egypt and that they got it from the Babylonians. So then how old is it then? Because if they got it in Babylon, Sumeria right at the beginning, then it's obviously come from the Stone Age.
Yeah. I think it's the oldest thing there is. I mean, obviously here, D times D equals E. I mean, before you even get any tape measures out for building buildings, you're already playing. Yeah, you're playing. It's already been discovered, sort of thing. It's I'm still to sort of figure out how. I know that that's the distance from the King's Chamber to the equator, and we've just used the Hertz D and this D here to get there. But now we've just got to work out basically how meters are converted into these frequencies. You know what I mean? Because that's 4 million megalithic yards. Because this is only like last night, and yesterday. So it's
I understand, mate. Yeah, it's amazing work, and it takes a while to digest.
Yeah. Because if you watch Howard's video on the megalithic yard, it's just got the title. It's in the title. He just divides by 4 million, and he gets 82944. So he knows that it's 4 million megalithic yards from. That's what that number is. The equivalent is 4 million megalithic yards. So, it's just if Howard's watching this, I reckon he'll be he's got it worked out by now. He can see me going, it's amazing, but he spent a lot more time on all of this. I think this is going to make a lot more sense to him immediately.
Well, I've just pulled up megalithic yards to feet. And it's 2.72 straight away.
Yeah.
We've got that 7.2 in there.
Yeah.
Oh, Dane, you bring me such beautiful gifts, but you hurt me as well. It's like, I know I'm going to get wrapped up into this. So we're going to be, it's a joy of life, though, isn't it?
Well, sort of, even when you said the other day, when the whiteboard comes out, magic happens. Well, I just set the whiteboard up yesterday for us to do the thing, and then we made it today. And I just sat down and just started writing. I had no intention. I just don't even know why I started writing. I just did. And this just came out. And I was like, oh, that's ready for tomorrow then.
It just happened. Automatic writing.
Basically, yeah. And I was like, okay, guys, I'll show Ryan tomorrow. Because I don't know where it's coming from. But, I really do.
I wish I had an audience because they'd be giving you a round of applause because that is really good work.
It's amazing. Yeah. I can't take any credit. Yeah.
What was on? You can take credit, mate. What's on the other board?
It's like we used to write.
You're taking the credit, Dane. No. Take the credit. Bend over. Take the credit.
Yeah, my brother and I used to write a lot of music and that, and we'd sit on the end of the bed and we'd have nothing. 5 minutes later, there's this thing, this baby, this whole adventure. And we look at each other and just go, where the hell did that come from? And so, we sort of felt the same then, can't really take any credit. Because it just comes from some place. Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah. What have you, triangle, 3, 4, 5 triangle you've been working on, again, Howard Crowhurst has shown how they use these triangles to get these long distances of surveying into other sites and cars and all that. But what have you found with what's been sort of boggling your mind? You've been sending me those little.
So I've been looking at. It would be nice if I had my own whiteboard here, but I'm going to try and write on people's imaginations.
Yeah.
So I was looking at the calculations between the inch, the foot, the yard, the mile. They're just the imperial system. And straight away, you notice that as soon as you can start converting from one to another, you're getting 144s, 2160, you're getting the usual hyperharmonic numbers, the anti-primes, as they're often called. And then so I was like, okay, let's sit down and look at all these measures. So it was like, what is a mile in yards, a mile in feet, a mile in inches, and then just looked at all that stuff. And then I looked at what kind of divisors they have, if it can divide by any of those first 12 numbers, because they'll tell you a lot. And I'd already had an inkling, as we often do about these things, that if I followed a path, I would arrive at some kind of a destination. But often you don't know where you are when you get there, even though you know you are somewhere.
Yeah.
So what had happened was that I realized that the measurements that make up a yard are divisible by 3, 4. We talked about these male and female numbers before. It's like 3, 4. You're lucky if you get a 5 or a 7 or a 9, because they are not easy numbers to divide by.
Yeah.
So when I looked at the inches in a foot, that was pretty divisible by 3 and 4. More so 3. More so 3. The yard in feet and inches was more divisible by 4. Not by 5 at all, nor by 7. And then the mile was divisible by quite a few things, but no 3s, no 9s at all. Was it 3s? Certainly no 9s, but 5s. I could divide it by 5. So instantly I had a 3, 4, 5 triangle. And something in my head, the back of my head said, it's something to do with the 3, 4, 5 triangle. So I've not got to the bottom of that yet, because, I've got about 5 pages of typed out numbers with me on a calculator, just looking at the numbers, as you do.
Yeah.
But I'm pretty sure that feet, inches, yards are to do with a 3, 4, 5 triangle. Sorry, not feet, inches, yards, feet. You'd have to include inches in there, but feet, yards, miles.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I think one of the reasons for that is that there are 12 inches in a foot, 3 feet in a yard. So you got 12s and 3s. As soon as you get 3s in places, you're going to start developing 9s. And 12 seems to be a really important number to all this. The 12 harmonics go alongside, it seems, these hyperharmonic numbers. You have 144s, you 432s. 12s, you get numbers like time numbers, 24, 48, 72. And just like we said before with these male and female numbers, where they meet over time. So the female numbers being 2, 4, 6, 8, 10, 12. And then you get 3, 6, 9, 12. There's a meeting here. And
Yes.
I think that's, I think that's kind of what's going on there as well. As I say, I've not got to the bottom of it, but it looks to me like.
Yeah.
Sorry, mate.
I think it comes back to those fundamental philosophies where each number has a personality. Like we were saying the other day, 4 and 2 are friends, because they go into each other. So they've got these relationships. Some numbers don't really have a relationship with each other, They're,
number 7.
Yeah.
So
with one being,
I think often people look at them as, is it a divisor? Is it a factor of? And sometimes these mathematical, cold, clinical words can actually hinder you from understanding things. I think saying like friends and friend groups does actually help for you to get it. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. I think that's how, because it's hard not to see it that way. You can see the ancients doing it for the first time in history or something. They're going, oh, look, these ones hang together. These ones don't really hang out.
Yeah.
You can just see that simply. But this returning of 9, this, we call 9 the completion and all this stuff. I mean, it's 9 is kind of king. It's kind of the, I would call it the king of the numbers, 9, because it's this, returns back to itself and all that. It's sort of like this magic that does that. So you'd sort of give it some sort of veneration, you give it sort of a higher position of importance. And so if it is, if we're suggesting that it is the highest, the king of the numbers, and but back in the ancient days, then all of this from the building a pyramid there and having the king's chamber this distance to the equator, and it's all about 9. I mean, that's completely makes sense. We're talking about the ancient Egyptians. That's just logic upon logic upon logic there. 9 is the king, right? We know we go 9 hertz time. It goes all the way to the king's chamber to the equator. That is deliberate.
Yeah. And the fact it's all these harmonic numbers again, and like I said, I can see moon measures in there. I can see the measure of the Earth. There's loads of cool little numbers, even within just the calculations.
Yeah, and we've
Yeah,
got
great work, mate.
megas and megalithic yards. 4 mil megalithic yards is 331,776.
So I have a question for you. Do you know where they might have derived, as in the cavemen, in inverted commas, might have derived the megalithic yard from? Like what real world thing they were looking at? Because you might have found it there, mate. It might be something to do with music.
Yeah, I think it's always been to do with tone and sound. We go to Malta and those underground chambers and stuff, all tuned to a certain frequency. It's got a certain resonant frequency in all of them. Same as the Giza chamber, 117 hertz, and we know that's Mercury's synodic cycle. It's 117 days. Hermes, Mercury, right? We're talking Egypt again, but it's 117 hertz Mercury. So even what's his name, Alan Collins, he talks about, say, Gobekli Tepe or the Tepes, and even Stonehenge I've seen. If you sit and you project your voice, it bounces back.
Yeah,
they're tuned, so you can actually see that. I sent it to you the other day. It's that sort of, you get a string and you draw around, and it gives you an ellipse, not a perfect circle. But what shows you how to do it, you've got your pen in the string, and it's sort of connected to a point, and you do this ellipse. And what's the name of the ellipse though? Oh, that's right. When they shone a laser, didn't matter where you pointed it, it always came back to this exact spot, and that's where the heel stone or whatever stone would be, the altar stone, bang, right there. So it's similar to even the geometry and knowledge of sound in Rome or Greece, where they're doing the amphitheatres, and you can sort of stand there and whisper, and the person at the very back, that's hundreds of metres away, and a huge audience, you can hear them whispering on the stage. It's called Psychoacoustics. I started to study it at uni years ago, but didn't finish the course, so I didn't get to that part of the course. But that was going to be my favourite bit. Couldn't wait for that bit. It was all about the size of the room, the shapes of rooms, and how, you want these, you don't want dead space in the room. Yeah, I wanted to design recording studios, and that was what I was right into. So psychoacoustics was, it was a big thing. And that's what I think.
Oh, yeah, no, mate. You've literally got the key to it here.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Well, yeah. So Andrew Collins, I think, is right. All these guys have suggested that chanting or things like that in those circles, the design of it itself is, this perfect geometry of reflection. So it's amplifying probably the tones that they're singing. It's, I think it all comes back to that first, and then they built pyramids and megalithic stuff. But yeah, that's a note of E. Where did they get the megalithic yard? They got it from the music scale, guys. I think
I'm playing with the Dane. Yeah. Sorry, mate. Go on.
No, the solfeggio scale is 5 to 8. And the Pythagorean, that's what we call them anyway. It's the 4-3-2. I think these two here are the key to measurement distance. There's these megalithic yard. This here is the meters. It's all still just using the frequencies of D to get both meters and megalithic yards. I think this is where they got it. There's no fudging here. There's not even, it's close.
There's no. Although I often, just to put a little buffer in there, these things often cycle back on themselves. So it's like, they're getting it from here, but it's also here, and it's also here, and it's also here, and that's why we're using it there.
Yeah. It's the chicken or the egg stuff, which one was. I kind of lean to the music first, only because when you've got a string and you cut it or you press it in half, you can hear that it's an octave. It's kind of a essential.
Well, I think as well, it occurred to me the other day, the reason why they like using strings so much, and the reason why you're getting whole tones and not messed up tones from cut strings, is because the waveform has to fit on that string. So you're not going to get a quarter waveform because it's the whole string vibrating, if you get me. So you're only ever going to get full, waves on it. You're not going to get a quarter wave. Basically, you can only get full waves because you pluck the whole string. It's not like you've plucked that little bit. So the string naturally produces whole numbers.
Yeah. Yeah, it has to. Because then you get wave. Yeah, you get wave cancellation when when you watch it on a computer screen, it goes like that. And if this one comes up right there at that dip, you get zip, you get nothing. I used to have that problem.
Nothing. Yeah.
Yeah, recording music, sometimes it'd be a bit of a funny spot in the track. And what was that? I'd go back, and just where Rory had played some bass and Sam had hit the kick drum, it just had this frequency similarity, and it was kind of this dead spot. I think, there's a bit of a dead spot.
Yeah.
It was just, again, the room where the microphones were, cancellation. I just thought, okay, I better move that microphone a bit, But yeah, that's
Obliterate each other.
Well, this is what as well, Exmouth in Australia. Exmouth have got those gigantic towers. When you look at it from space, it's in of course, it's in a hexagram shape.
Right.
And all the towers are sitting right on the nodes of the hexagram. And that's a submarine communication. So it's very low frequency, long waves. I think probably the Sherman, 7.83. And it can go through water down to the depths of whatever you like and can communicate in real time with them. So, yeah, and they're always using that shape, a hexagram, for communication. That guy from Apocalypse Channel, that I spoke to him the other day, we just recorded it. It was more of a chin wave. He's got, I sent you that clip last night. At the very end of his presentation, he's got a circle divided into the 6, and he shows you with that method, you get the meter and the foot and inch and everything.
Is this the Atlantis guy?
Yeah, and he's doing the 7 sevenths. So I think 7 bottom hemisphere.
Right, I didn't actually look through his work yet, but I did look at his channel and I subscribed to him because I plan to have a look. But I was busy with the ladies 111222 video, which again, you know what was mad actually? The day before, I thought to myself, why is a treble clef like that at the beginning of music notation? You showed me that staff thing, and I'm like, that's just annoying. And then I watched that video, and she was like, "Oh, this is why it's treble clef. It's because this note's here, that's there, this does this." I was like, "Oh my word, that's so interesting!" And the answer came straight away to my question.
That's been happening a lot, bro. Same with me, where I have a question, and I ask the question, and it's that day or that evening. It's the same. So I don't have to wait long.
All you need to do is get your whiteboard out.
Get this out. Every time I get it out, there's some, ghosts jump out.
Leave my brain alone. Look, don't get the whiteboard out. You'll just upset Ryan.
Yeah, I know. It's too much, but
so With that said, mate, what was on your other little whiteboard there? You picked up another whiteboard a second ago.
It's similar, basically just giving you a bigger and cleaner example of the very lowest 9, D's 9 hertz. You can't even hear 9 hertz, but it's all D. And then when I divided it by the D, by 9, sorry, I've got this, and it was back to matter. So we've got masculine, feminine, the etheric matter, all from, again, the note of D.
And being in the middle. It's like middles. They're aiming for the middle, aren't they? They're in the middle of the earth, aiming for the actual equator. They're in a middle note, and then they're taking the top note and the bottom note and making a middle out of that. It's like Mises all the time. I love it.
Well, so what are they at? 30 degrees, aren't they? 30 degrees latitude, I think the Giza plateau. 29, what is it? 29.97, something so close to 30. Yeah. But the fact, like I said, it's pretty handy having that limestone plateau sitting right there to be able to build on. Because, once you've known about these very simple, it looks like it's because it's kind of all written there like a mess. But
I was just thinking that it is so, all of this stuff is so simple once you understand it. Yeah, because it's a mystery. When you approach it, it's difficult. But as soon as you get your head around it, it's just such easy stuff. Basic arithmetic.
Yeah, man. This is so easy. I mean, I wish I had it. I was going to draw it up, the Pythagorean, sorry, all the notes, and, I think there's 96 all up, of them each. But reason being, so it's just really easily visual of how simple this is. I started at the top and at the bottom, and I just started moving towards myself, to the middle, until I got to 5, 7, 6, which is the middle one, number 7, seventh position of D. 576 times 576. Yep, King's Chamber to the equator. Boom, right? That is all I did. Move in like that.
I was I just thought to myself, I bet it's something to do with 12. I divided it by 12, and you know what it is? What? It's 40 fucking 8, mate. It's 48.
Oh. What this is? 33.
No, 576 divided by 12 is 48.
Oh, bullshit. Wow. The 48.
By the way, everybody out there, we're getting sick of 48 because we don't get it, but it's always there.
Well, the 48 is, I've been finding more on 48 as well. And even Robert Grant, his Brandy video only yesterday or the day before, was in the, because I told you now, the little one about the decans. So they're the minor constellations, but there's apparently 48 constellations. And it goes back to the Persians again, I think. So he said it was in one sentence, and I went far out. Here we go. He said 48 constellations are connected to the 144 blocks. He didn't go into much detail about all that, but I just thought, wow, that's what I've been saying. 48 in the middle of Giza. You go down one side to 264, and then go along the bottom to halfway, meet them in the middle of the plateau, and the difference between the two is 48. So, yeah, and it's covered in 144,000 casing stones. I think those, 48 constellations, and this measure, and of course music. But it's a measure to the equator from the greatest building on planet Earth. So I think D's given up all its secrets, I think, for now. But I just couldn't believe when I started moving in like this. This D, this D, this D, this D, getting closer and closer. Just kept getting this.
I mean, it makes sense because those are all 9 numbers as well, and 9s do that. So I can see why it would be doing it, but that it does do that number, and that number is that number that then produces the megalithic yard and a distance between the King's Chamber and the equator. Yeah. It's just it's mental. Yeah. Fantastic, man.
Yeah. It is kind of what came first, really, but it's, I don't know if we'll ever know that. But
I don't think it matters at this point. Well, we're still trying to figure it all out.
The answers are here. I mean, people with higher IQs than us will grab this and take it further and go, this is all repeatable and checkable. And when they did build it there, we go to Egypt, there it is, it's sitting there, and it is that far to the equator. So, accident?
Can I get your face on for a second, just so we can chat with you? There we go. You can move the whiteboard, mate. You'll be all right. Yeah. Or can you not?
Yeah, no, I'll move it.
Right. Nice having Dane indoors. Not normally Dane's having a chat to us in that glorious sunshine in Australia. Yeah, so I've been tracking this back, mate. Can you hear me all right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So I've been tracking this back, and I've gone down a list of tracking from those pillars that I found in Rivington, those little pillars with all the symbols on them. Everybody out there, if you don't already know, I found pillars with symbols, and they're all to do with this art. So I was just tracking it back in time. So I had John D. I'm pretty sure he's had something to do with it because he's got his name on there, and it's covered in 264s and whatnot. Which is 264 times 2 is 528, isn't it? Something like that.
Yes.
264 times 2 equals 528. Yeah, that very number we're just talking about that goes down to 48. Right.
Yes.
So I tracked it from him through the Rosicrucians, through to the Templar, back a bit further through a couple of other weird religions, but then I inevitably came to Plato. Oh no, sorry. Let me tell you about the Templars first.
Yeah.
So when I came to the Templars, this is really cool. This right. So everybody out there, I found this pattern, and it brings all these things together that me and Dane are talking about in geometry, and it maps out the pyramids, it maps out Stonehenge. It's not just me that found it. There's other people that found it. Manly P. Hall's got images of it. Burley, occulted. What's his name? John Mitchell. He found it and kind of was explicit about what it was. So I was looking at the Templar, and I was just following their story a little bit. And so they'd gone looking for the Temple of Solomon. And now this pattern draws all these architectures, obviously. Stonehenge's architecture. So their legend goes that they were in the stables of Solomon's Temple, which, by the way, I did the maths on it, and it's all this sacred harmonic stuff again. And it's only just a bit bigger than a house, Solomon's Temple. It's literally a few meters bigger than my house currently.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Weird, eh? So, and I looked at the Ark of the Covenant. The Ark of the Covenant does all this stuff as well. I'll make a video at some point, but I'm just trying to get it in the freaking book first.
Yeah.
So, Templars stayed over at Solomon's Temple, or what they thought was Solomon's Temple, in what had been the stables.
Mm-hmm.
Note out there that the Knights Templar were called the Poor Knights of Christ and the Temple of Solomon. That's where they get the Templar from.
Yes, yeah.
So they fill up, these nine guys fill up 4 boxes full of treasures that they find, mostly documents and images, etc.
Mm-hmm.
They set off back home to France and England and Germany. France. On the way, they stop off in Switzerland or somewhere. It sounded like a Swiss word. I didn't look it up. To get one of the treasures copied, right?
Yeah.
I was like, oh, I wonder what that was. You'll never find that out. It turns out, because it was copied again. We know exactly what this thing was. It's literally an image of a heavenly city called the Heavenly Jerusalem, right?
Yeah.
John Michel called his pattern the New Jerusalem pattern. So straight away, I took my pattern, put it over the top of this thing that the Templar, the guys the custodians of the Holy Grail, had deemed so precious that they didn't even get home before they had it copied. And it is literally just a building, a crappy cartoon building that's clearly just made with all the measurements from that pattern. Yeah. Right?
Yes.
So that's yeah, sorry?
From the heptagram, is that what it's made from? The heptagram?
Yeah, it's from that heptagram pattern, yeah. A heptagram, everybody out there, is a 7-sided shape.
Yeah.
So, and I'm like, okay, you can look at lots of other things, and essentially I worked out the Holy Grail, and we kind of know this anyway, is the Vesica Piscis. It's those 2 circles going together, the feminine shape, the Holy Grail.
Yeah.
And I could go in for an hour of why that's the case, but that looks like it's that. But then I was like, right, well, let's go and look at Plato now. After I'd traced it back a bit, all this knowledge, I looked at Plato. Plato's got these heavenly cities, these heavenly castles. It's all the same stuff. And when I looked at it, he's basically saying that it's the basis of his philosophy. He got it from Pythagoras, and that they are using it, and you'll know this just intuitively, they are using it as a heavenly as above so template to bring justice down to the earth. So they're using it to learn music, to learn geometry, to learn morals, to learn everything, because it gives you morals in there, because there's negative and positive, one cancels out the other. These things are just transferable to your character.
Absolutely.
So yeah, I think what it is some secret from the Stone Age where they'd figured all this shit out somehow, and previous civilization stuff. I found that pattern on cave walls, so it is Stone Age, and that it is the foundation of religion. Because as far as the West's concerned, and Christianity particularly, who was it that said it was Nietzsche said that Christianity is Platonism for the masses, and it is. The same stories that Plato tells are just retold in a more idiotic way in the Bible, in more parables, basically. Plato tells you the parables, but tells you he's telling a parable.
Yeah. It looks like the torch has been passed along, because even the Ottomans, you know, in the Islamic Renaissance period, that was incredible. And their mosaics all over the place with their geometry. And it's like, when the Templars come in and take over Jerusalem again, it's this battle between holding all these keys.
Yeah.
And, having all these.
It had been around here. I mean, the church had it, definitely had it. But, the church building, the real cathedral building, the most glorious buildings ever, aside from like the pyramids and stuff like that, are because of Templar attachment masons and this noise that they bring back. But it had been here. It had been here with the Druids and whatnot before. It's just that the Romans came and wiped them all out from Britain and France. So, yeah, it looks to me like it is the root of religion. It's what religion was. I mean, I'm pretty sure it's at Göbekli Tepe where they were clearly disseminating some kind of post-flood religion. And the Templars were particularly going out looking for pre-flood knowledge. That's literally what they were going for. They were obsessed with Enoch, and Enoch's the last guy before Noah, before the flood comes. Yeah. So I think that's what we're doing, mate. I think we've literally found the Prisca Theologia, that original religion, and we're kind of rediscovering it because it's the universe itself. Yeah. And I love how you're doing it. It's similar to myself, where we're trying to see the logic, I suppose, but it's so overused. People think they're using it all the time, but I don't think it's logic. Instead of the woo-woo, like 9, we know that it always just comes back and adds up to 9. Like these simple things like that you can follow to its ultimate end. It's what am I trying to say? That just everyone can check it for themselves. There's no flashiness in it. It's not even difficult, I mean, it's uncanny that we can just use the music scale and find distances and different types of weights and measures and all these things that have Hermes, Enoch. That's it. That's this cut a length of the string into a thirds or fourths or octaves or whatever, and you got everything. You've got the measure. Yeah. I think doing the musical, that's how we get every different measure we use to this day, from inch to mile to Imperial, doesn't matter. But for that, they were absolute geniuses, because this is, as easy as it is to do, it's difficult to wrap your head around it, because none of us have managed to do that yet. None of us have gone, I've actually got the system. I get it. This is how you do it. Yeah. I'm still scrabbling around at 3, 4, 5 triangles that I learned at bloody primary school. You know what I mean? Yeah. Oh, we're so close. Like this is again another huge key. Obviously, that's the huge, massive piece that's just filled in a lot of gaps with just that. And I did a 4, 5 triangle the other day, 3, 4, 5 triangle. I just did because I was thinking about Horus, and Horus equals 81 in the gematria, and I just made the hypotenuse 81, and this side was just 3. It just gave me that anyway. I just went through anyway. And it was this line, it went right out to 9.97, right? That's the location of the Great Pyramid. So we use Horus's gematria as the hypotenuse, and just 3 on the upside. If you had to have another number, then 3 was just there, and I just went, calculate. Just do it. Well, that's the way it comes from. It kind of comes from, like, you just get a feeling that you should follow this, something in your nose to follow it, and you just follow it. And I'm the same as you, mate. Every time I sit down, my head gets like, how the hell did I just discover this? And it's like every time I sit down, to the point where I've had to take a couple of days off. Look at that. Yeah. Beautiful work. Yeah. So where do you think you're going to go next, Dane? What's interesting you currently? Are you going to find out more about this megalithic yard stuff, or are you just going to let the muses take you where they will? Pretty well. That's pretty much all I can do, I haven't got much control over it. It just takes me, questions pop in, don't even know where those come from, but then they get answered as well,
I kind of want to find more really about this, meters and megalithic yards, and just how it's another easier way to present it to the public. Because I think
Yes.
it can even simplify this further. And that's right.
Well, I think that's in the future for both of us as well. I think for you, mate, you could. Have you got a laptop or are you just on your phone?
Got my phone, but I've just got an iPad recently, so it's I've upgraded. I've just got to set it.
Yeah, you need something a bit bigger, I think, just to, you can play about with and move things around and stuff. But yeah. I see bright things in your future, mate, because the force is clearly with you.
Oh yeah, it's clearly with both of us, man. It's been years now I've been doing this, but this stuff's all just kind of like I feel like I'm maturing, or maybe they say you're permitted. I've heard that said by lots of great minds of the past. But yeah, even the Teslas and stuff, where they felt like they were just receiving these downloads, and it's like they were, you get to a certain stage in the. It's all invisible, of course, and you get permitted to then see the next piece, and you've earned it almost, or you're the Promethean flame. That's why I don't think, we ask the question all the time, why do they keep it a secret and all that? I think it's because it comes back to some very deep principles about if you have the curiosity and that initial spark from yourself without any prompting, without any kind of, guidance of any kind, it just came from you, and you go and seek these matters out, then you get these spiritual help, maybe guides give you help, give you the answers, and guides you to people like and friends and things. Yeah.
So I've got an excuse why I'm profaning these secrets, because I've realised that same thing. I was like, why are they keeping this stuff secret? A, because it's power, and knowledge is power. But B, exactly what you just said, Dane, that there's something magic about it, and that it organizes you as you organize it. It just does that to you. However, this was a secret tradition, but it's not anymore. I think it's pretty much died. I don't meet any Masons or anything like that really know anything. Not really. They know bits.
Yeah.
And I mean, there's more to this. There's a whole energy art side of this. There's like a whole Qigong, bioelectricity side to this as well. So I think it's been pretty much the whole art coming together has been lost. And I am happy to tell people what it is, because you're still going to have to do the work. And there's a lot more work than you or I can do.
Yeah.
So I'm happy to at least get people started, tell as much of it as I can, even though I realize that this was a mystery and that it is important that people find out for themselves. But there are no priests to go and talk to about this stuff. The temple's gone.
Yeah. Yeah. I think we were talking the other day about starting what did you call it?
A Discord channel.
Discord or something, but even a YouTube or something with another. I've been visioning lately, again, maybe visions from something else coming to me, but gathering all the people.
Me too. Yeah.
Yeah, and having a mystery school, but where it's not a mystery, anyone can join, it's free, all that. And, I think that's the future of really bringing all these minds together. You make it exciting and fun, because it is so much fun. It's so cool when these things pop in, you think, there's the megalithic yard, there's the meter, this is just a node of D, whatever it is that you're working on. It is exciting. But I think it's also when people can connect it to their own lives, it makes it sort of a bit more, people get more curious about it. Otherwise, they just kind of, So that's coming soon. Again, I've said it a few times in our interviews and stuff, where all these things, I'll say a little bit today, but all of this stuff really started to come on hard to about 2 years ago, like really a lot more downloads about this type, specifically this, a procession and all the numbers for procession and all that. And it's very personal to my life, so much so that it's obscene. And I think it might actually, what's it even mean? Who cares? And why? How could I even deliver this? Because without, getting sort of called a narcissist or something mental, right? Because none of these things I looked for. I didn't look. I wasn't
No.
curious. Yeah, I wasn't curious about Dane. I was curious about Egyptians and South American structures and things. That's what I'm into. But it all came out that even, for just give you one example, out of thousands. So I didn't even believe in reincarnation, really. I was on the fence. Maybe it's real, maybe it's not. But I'm really heavily leaning to, wow, I think this is a real thing, because there's thousands of these. So I've got them saved for a future event because it is massive. I told you the last one, Kalki and all that stuff, and the 10th avatar. Anyway, I'll give you one. I'll give you two, actually, because it's worth saying. Because I just want to inspire others to become a wizard, almost, right? I think it's the future. We're sort of paying these taxes and being space. What do we want to do? What future do we want? Anyway, Dane Abraham Quirk, right? Anyway, that's 144. Dane Abraham is 2.
That's it. In what? In normal gematria?
Wait for it. This thousands. Okay, Abraham is 264. Quirk is 456. Add those together, and you get 864. The sun. Oh, there we go.
Fuck off. No way. Sorry, is that in Hebrew gematria or is that in English?
That's in the Sumerian one, right? So they're all Sumerian. 144, 264, and 456. That's in the Sumerian. But then, Ryan, what I did was when you do Dane Abraham Quirk, the whole thing, in ordinal, it's 144. The whole name, Dane Abraham Quirk, equals 144 in ordinal.
I'm going to look up my name now, Dan.
This keeps going to insanity. I'll show you this one. This is what got me going on the megalithic yard. And this is the story behind the synchronicity of this. I fell out of the car, guys. I fucking did. I fell out of the car because all I did was I was watching Howard Crowhurst at about, say, midday. And I was watching that exact video on the megalithic yard. His friend suggested measuring, and he did. He went, so it's 3 million, 760. Right? So I was watching his video, no worries. 4 hours later, forgotten all about it. I saved everything, but I just moved on. Later that evening, a little voice said, "You've never done the sum and the multiple of the name." So I did 1 plus 4 plus 4, right, plus the 2 plus 6 plus 4, right, all the way, plus 4, 5, 6, and it adds to 36, right? 36. But then I did the multiple, 1 times 4 times 4 times 2, so all the way through the whole name, and I got 9, 2, 1, 6. I times them together so that the sum of the whole name, the multiple of the whole name, put them together, and what do you get? You
had that.
You get that.
D.
You get the distance from the
to
the equator. That's my name. My name adds from the King's Chamber to the equator. I'm thinking, am I fucking Enoch? Who the fuck am I? This is mental. Okay, I'll give you another one.
Let me add some weight to that because I just put my name into Hebrew gematria and it means nothing. No numbers, no anything.
This is thousands, and the world will. I don't know what they'll do. I don't know. I don't care. It's not up to me. Anyway, it's 32. That's 32. The whole birthday. Cool. Whatever. But we can go into the Royal Arch and stuff. The secret of the Royal Arch, 32nd degree. It's in music scale as well. It's the last whole tone. Whatever. Cool. But then we had the conjunction of 1981, right? Triple conjunction. Every religion says the Messiahs are born on conjunctions. Well, I've got that too. It's all stupid. I don't care about this stuff, people. Just understand that. So 1981, and then we had one in 2020, right? We had the 2020 conjunction. It was the 21st of December, right? How many days from the 7th of June 1981 to the 21st of December 2020? 1, 4, 4, 4, 2 days. No joke. So 1, 4, 4, 4, 2. Well, what's 42? 7 times 6, which is the 7th to the 6th, is 42. Right? So that's the days from 7th of June 81 to the 21st of December 2020. Right? But my brother and my father are born on the 23rd of December. 2 more days. So you'll just turn that 2 into a 4. And they're both on the 23rd of December, and that's Saturnalia. The Saturnalia Festival, I think that was the me. I think that's the me's of the Saturnalia Festival. I think it's 21st.
I think that's the end of Saturnalia, the 23rd.
Yeah, I've seen different bloody things on it, where it's the beginning, the middle, end, but yeah, it's in there.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Then she's born on a triple conjunction year. Of course, she is 1961. She's born on a triple, and the amount of hours or minutes between her birthday and the 1961 is this. That's again Pythagorean scale. It just goes on and on and on and on and on and on. So,
and I mean, audience, you have a clear insight into why Dane's good at this. He actually remembers the numbers. I'm awful, mate. My memory's just shocking.
Yeah, I think it's something to do with why I remember all the numbers. Yeah, it goes on and on like that, you know. Even last year in 2024, we had I had my first interview thing ever, you know, with I was nervous and funny, and what was it, with Dale and Nikki and that, and it was on, and they asked me 2 weeks before it happened. They said, "Hey, come on to the thing," and they gave me a day and a time. And then Dale, sorry, the other guy, he said, "Oh, can I change the time? I'll make it 2 hours later." We all said, "Yep." The night before I went on there, and so it was on my birthday, right? They didn't know that when they asked me, but it was on the 7th of June. But over in your hemisphere, it was the 6th of June, 2024, and we had the 6-planet alignment, 6 planets, right? And we had the new moon moving through the silver gates of Taurus at the same time. And it happened at the exact 10 o'clock. It was 10 o'clock a.m. here, and it was 8 or something like that, 8 p.m. in the US, when the moon finally moved into the silver gate of Taurus, all on the thing. And I got onto the crew and said, "Hey, look what's happening as we start the interview at 10 o'clock. This happens at that exact same time." Mental. Well, I didn't know till the night before the interview thing, you know. Had no idea. I just saw a lady's video pop up and watched it and went, "Holy cow, this just keeps."
And how did your interview go? Was it your first interview? How did it go?
Yeah, sort of. I stumbled a lot. Someone said in the comments, it looked like you had a lot to get out but didn't know where to pick from. I said, yeah that was like that.
Yeah, it's difficult. Yeah, it's not. People think it's easy, but it's not. You know, you've got to. There's being able to collect your thoughts together without bursting out. B, doing it in a way that other people understand, because you forget how much you know.
Yeah.
And then you've got to be entertaining, and then you've got to make sense, and then you've got to do it in English, which is the most difficult thing.
Totally. Yeah.
Yeah.
So the old saying, when you know something really well, you can explain it simply. So that's what we know. We're digesting and processing. So yeah, in time, not too far away, this will be yours.
I think where you've got the numbers, my superpower is that being able to make it simple. That is the thing I'm good at. I think that's the way reason the universe picked me, because I can simplify. I can see it and then I can simplify it.
Yeah, those extracts that you sent me from your book that you did, that's great. It's really simple, easy to follow. That's
good.
I'm not that great.
Oh, I'm pleased to hear that. Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Everybody out there, I've nearly finished my book. It's just that I'm on the last bit of the last chapter, and it's been one thing after another. It's been like the Templars, the Plato thing. You know, it's been, I can't cope with it. And now the megalithic yard stuff. It's, you know, we have a thing in my house. When you're doing the washing up, don't turn around. If you think you're finished, don't turn around, because I guarantee you there's a lot of washing up to do behind you as well. So that's the way it is. I'm writing the book. Don't turn around. Just keep on writing, because it's only going to get bigger if you turn around. Yeah.
It's probably like a song. You're going to have to sort of stop somewhere, you know, because you'll have to write a part 2, obviously, because it just keeps going.
Well, I'm thinking, mate, the part 2 is going to be something to do with this group that we're going to bring together. I think we need to have like a focus of where we're heading, and then just start writing a book. So if anybody out there, if I'm not just saying, like, if you're interested in this stuff, yeah, please come. But what we want to do is get together a group of people that are doing the work and, you know, head towards a destination. Not that we're sure what that destination is. Yes, we do. It's the work understood. We want to understand what's going on and not just look for alignments, not just look for, you know, St. Michael's line from this church to that church. What we're doing is by looking at those things, as Dane has done tonight, finding out what the fundamentals of that is and trying to comprehend it to kind of reopen this mystery school, this fucking Jedi Academy. Excuse my French.
And it involves, like, if you're a star watcher, you know, astronomer of amateur, got some, you know, nice telescope things, and whatever discipline you're into, it's really like the invitations for everyone of different disciplines, because I'm not bad at numbers and stuff, but yeah, the astronomy is just as important, and even geometry I'm only pretty average. So great geometers, all the people that are doing the work, the great work. And I was going to say about the destination kind of thing. It's this Kundalini stuff is, I've heard stories about people activating their pineal, but I don't believe them though, because when I sort of watch them for long enough, I just sort of think, I don't know. I think it's more powerful experience than surely just some.
Mate, you say that you don't believe it, but you're doing it. Those feelings that you get in that are, you know, they're like little snakes that come up from inside you, and they're like little. Oh, I know this. That is the same stuff. It's the life force. It's the life force. The life force is time. The life force is doing all these numbers. That's what it is. It's just a bit further down in us. That's how they think about it anyway.
Yeah, but, I think I'm in some, like, you know, cosmic ayahuasca thing or something, you know, where that's probably what I'm imagining. It's probably just more what we're doing.
I do. It can be there too. Having had these experiences, it can be there too. But I think it's better to. I think it's better when it happens to folk like me and you, because we're not silly hippies saying all these new age things that just sound like you're talking bollocks, basically. But I've had these experiences, so it is real. You're doing it, mate. You're already doing it. You're just doing it of a different fashion. You're focusing that third eye on these numbers and all this stuff, and it's coming to you. You know, when the universe gives you these gifts of an answer that come easily, because it's not like these answers are all over everywhere. You know, it's not on the soap opera on TV. You know what I mean? These are in esoteric, weird places. So I think you're well on the path, mate.
Oh, yeah.
Cool.
I just think one last, just real quick, just if we, one of the goals we could have is, you know, building some kind of room, whether it's circular and whatever, and getting it tuned to a certain resonant frequency, you know, like you'll know the height and all the rest of it. Because, if you went in there and hummed or meditated, that's why I think they built them in Malta and all these places. But practical things that we can build and have fun with that incorporate harmonic numbers. And then we can get, like, the results, like whether it be that physical result, I felt healed when I came out, whatever, you know. But there might be attitude. We come out and I feel crook. You think we stuff that one up, you know what I mean? It's no good. Yeah, but just we can actually apply it to stuff, because I really am about the applicable. I don't really want to go around talking numbers. You know, that's not what I'm into.
No, it's boring.
Yeah, boring for me even, but it's exciting how they all connect. But then, okay, these guys used it. They went, okay, the 9 times 9, D times D, equals that distance from King's Chamber to the equator, right, you know? Let's go and build the buildings. They apply.
We need to bring it up. You must have seen what's been going on with the pyramids this week.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, who missed it? Yeah.
So, like, anyone that hasn't noticed about the pyramids, they seem to have found some huge structures underneath the pyramids. 8 giant columns with a spiral around the outside into 2 huge cubes. Now, speaking of cubes is the 3-dimensional version of the Vesica Piscis. Vesica Piscis is like a almond shape. It's, you know, it's the center of those 2 circles put together. And those can go over 2 perfect squares. That's the distance it covers, 2 perfect squares. So when you're going up a dimension, these cubes, hence Saturn's cube, often you'll find with the Masons and with a lot of the old Hebrew tradition, it's 2 cubes that they're using to do all these measurements, because you can get like square root of 2, phi, all these ratios just by joining the corners up. You can get Euler's number out of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So there are 2 big cubes at the bottom of these giant 4 columns. People are jumping straight away to it being the Hall of Records for the ancient world, which would be the best thing ever. However, it looks to me some kind of like power generation system. They look like water shafts to me, to an underground kind of reservoir or something, and it's generating power or something similar.
Yeah.
I don't know what you think. What do you think?
I don't know. They're crazy. I've looked into even the SAR, obviously, to see how accurate that SAR stuff is. And yeah, it seems pretty legit. The surface, they only pick up the surface movement. They're not going down 2 kilometres. It just picks up the micro movements on the surface to see if there is changes. And so it seems like the technology is, because at first there was a few people saying, no, the tech doesn't even do that type of scan, so it was a bit of maybe it was a April Fool's type of a thing. But no, I don't know. I think it looks pretty bloody legit.
I hate to.
Did you say what?
I hate to jump to it. So go on, mate.
648 metres down, they reckon.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? That's professional month.
Yeah, and that's a long distance too. I mean, we got reserved judgment because people make mistakes. But when I looked into it, it seemed like most people were pretty confident there is something there, and it's not just artifacts.
Yeah.
On the in the scans.
Yeah. I have a bit more of them. It reminds me a little bit of the Neo or the Matrix, where at the very end, they plug the machine. He's there with the machine. He's got his blindfold on because he's got his eyes damaged, and he's standing there. He plugs in and he fights Agent Smith. And but it was all about, when you look right into the whole thing, it's the resetting of the code. You remember? It's kind of like him in there, and it reboots the whole thing. When we think about Christ, it really has a lot. And we're talking again Vishnu, Kalki, all this stuff. It's time. They're time gods, time related, because we even use we use BC before Christ. I mean, it's right. So it is also, it's a resetting of time
and the conjunction.
Yeah, I think there's something to do with all is mind. Okay, Hermes said all is mind, and what we think we create, and all this stuff that we've heard on from the New Age and everything. But these things seem to be actually really tangibly true, that we do create what we think. So I think if there's I've looked it up, it's about 3.9 billion people, 3.9 billion minds, all reading their scriptures, their holy books, their Vedic, their Bibles, their Qurans, everything, all this stuff, and all the numbers and that are in there. We got the 144,000, we got the 12 apostles. We've got all this stuff. It's all in there.
Yep.
We're all the 3-something billion minds digesting all that stuff for 2,000 years. To me, it might be all is mind, and we're creating this. It could be possible we've created this. I don't know. Avatar.
The Matrix. We've done it ourselves. Yeah.
Avatar comes back to, remind, reboot, start again, get another zero happening. Before Quirky. I don't know, before Ryan.
BQ.
You know what I mean? Before, and we, it's a new cycle. We set this new, again, with harmonic numbers, but it seems that these great conjunctions were, like I said before, the Minoans, we're talking way back before pyramids and stuff. They're all counting this Saturn-Jupiter thing. We've seen the other day in my presentation, it's 481 feet high, and that is the count of Saturn-Jupiter conjunctions, right? 481. Uncanny. Then there's way more to do with Saturn and the Giza plateau, which is perfection.
I genuinely think with that you've found something really important. I do think it's like I think it's like a big deal.
A big. I think when we're dead, they're going to be going, those guys, they didn't realise how big that was, because it's big. And even the South America, all lines up to the 7 BC, then the 1941 with, you've seen all that in Brian, last thing. I mean, that is massive. Last night I was watching a video, he's only got a channel for the last 3 weeks. He's already got 500 subscribers, but he does the alchemy side of astrology. It's amazing. He's really good. And I left him a comment last night and he wrote back saying, I've seen your interview with Ryan about Saturn and Jupiter, and he said, I want to work with you. But what he was...
Yeah, come on board.
Yeah, he was frothing, but this guy's like, this is what I mean, different disciplines. He is absolutely all over and very thorough, extremely knowledgeable on the alchemy side.
On alchemy?
Yeah, well, we're talking about where all the star constellations, you've got the metals, the plants, all the stuff that's to do with the alchemy.
I like all that stuff too. So yeah, it sounds like I should have a chat with him. What's his name?
He doesn't give his name because for privacy reasons, but his channel I'll send to you. It's thread code or something it is. He's actually
get in touch with him and we'll see if we can have a little chat on. We'll make a video or something.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and also with Matt from Apocalypse, we spoke the other day, just recorded a chat, but it wasn't real good for releasing out yet. But his stuff, so when you've got to go and have a look today if you get time. But because it's all about the 7, you've got the heptagram, and he's got the entire planet cut into 7 latitudes up there and 7 down the bottom. And he shows you how it's to do with the radian, and it's like, again, it's perfect interlocking. Like they click in, like, click, 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 perfect. So you see, so I'm thinking, okay, like, 7 heptagram. It's all.
Well, really, that heptagram's a tetradecagram, which is a 14-sided shape, and he's got 14 there. So,
yes,
that's amazing. Yeah. So let's start doing this. Anybody out there, if you're doing the work too, and even if you're just interested, but I think we're going to start a Discord soon. I just want to get my bloody book finished, so I'm like maybe 2 or 3 weeks, and then let's call it a month, and then we'll get a Discord going, and we'll set up a few videos up. I think I might even start a new channel because my channel was massive at the beginning, and it's just died a death, probably because algorithms and stuff. So I think I'm going to restart the channel, but only when the book's finished. Everything when the book's finished.
No worries. Yeah, that's a great idea. Even a name for it. But I think that's a good idea. And make it this communal thing because, it's sort of hard to do it all by yourself. There's a lot of things to remember and other people are just good at other stuff. Yes. Anyway, I'm excited to gather them. Yeah,
great. Gather the people in. Find the others. Terence McKenna. There you go. Right, Dane, should we wrap it up there, mate? Have you got anything you want the people to know? Go and find Dane's channel, which is Saturn Rooster 981.
Yep.
81. Saturn Rooster 81. My channel you can find by looking down a bit with your eyes because you're on my channel now. And
you actually
I'll be hearing.
When I type in
again, mate.
When I type in Ryan 7, I have to put in tarot. Otherwise, you don't come up. All these other Ryan 7.
It's this other Ryan 7 that decided that putting videos up about Chinese computer games would be a good idea. So unfortunately, there's a lot of people in China that like computer games. So I used to be at the top. Now I'm not. But that's okay because I'm not here for the views. I'm here for the news, whatever that means. It just rhymed and sounded good. Cool. Anything you got coming up that you want the peeps to know about apart from our wonderful Discord community thing?
Yeah, I've just got to record. Anyway, I've got a thing coming out with Stephanie McPeak-Peterson. I've got to record my little bits for her. She's done her bits already, but it's awesome. Jules Verne, Agatha Christie, all these great authors and stuff, and she's pulled out all these numbers, 37 degrees, and all in their work. So again, it's similar to Tolkien and all that stuff. They've encoded stuff in their literature, and it's amazing. So it connects.
I found the pattern on the front cover of Tolkien's work. That pattern I found is on the front cover. So, I'm there with you.
From someone, a Mason, apparently he was right up there as a Mason, but he was in the comment section, and he said that even his grandfather, who was a Mason, said, if you want to know the mysteries of everything, just read Tolkien. And he was a high up Mason. Yeah, I thought, okay, yeah, interesting.
Sweet. Right, everybody. I hope you enjoyed this rather difficult thing to comprehend, but it didn't take long, did it? And it did. It all made sense. And oh, fantastic! Yeah, great work, mate. Honestly, great work. Right, everybody. I'll see. I've got no plans for the future apart from writing my books. I'm not currently doing the show in the States on Drawing Down the Stars with Snappy and Dion right now. Maybe some point in the future. But I'll be back here with more weird people from around the world to entertain and break your brain. Cool. Abracadabra.